The movie begins with Jacob and Romy making love, telling her he loved her, but Romy wasn't satisfied with the time she had with him. While he was sleeping, she left him, went to another room, opened a video, and tried to satisfy herself on her own. In the morning, Romy put eye drops in her eyes, did her makeup, and got dressed. While rehearsing her speech, the family gathered for breakfast. There was so much noise, and the house was chaotic. Romy and her daughter, Nora, talked about the shoes Nora had given to a homeless person. Ed and Romy asked her why she had given them away since they were meant for hiking. Nora told them she was a dancer, not a hiker, and that the shoes didn't fit her or look good on her. She explained that she had given them to a boy. On her way to the office, Romy encountered a group of people gathered around a commotion caused by a dog that no one could control. The dog ran toward Romy, and she got scared. Samuel called the dog, which then went to him, and he calmed it down. The dog's owner arrived to take it away. Romy and Samuel looked into each other's eyes for a moment before she hurried into her office. When Romy arrived at her office, Esme, her assistant, assured her that she wasn't late. On camera, Romy recorded a segment about the new addition to their fleet, Harvest. She began by quoting Ahmed Ray. As more and more artificial intelligence enters the world, more and more emotional intelligence is needed in leadership. She emphasized that engineers must be accountable for their products, as life changes every day. After finishing the recording, Esme and Romy discussed the thoughts Romy had shared. Esme asked if Romy could introduce to the new interns. Romy agreed. Esme called the interns in and introduced them to the company's CEO, Ms. Romy Mathis. They were all excited to meet her. Romy reassured them not to be nervous and encouraged them to ask any questions. While standing together, Samuel raised a question. Does she think automation provides real environmental and economic benefits, or is it just marketed that way for public approval? Esme quickly ushered everyone out of the room, dismissing Samuel's question by saying Romy was busy. The interns later discussed their first day and said they enjoyed it. Samuel asked Esme about the application. Sebastian answered, explaining that it was a company-wide program and they would receive an email. Sebastian also advised them that having a mentor was highly recommended. They also invited all the interns to the holiday party. At the office, Romy was on the phone discussing business, while Samuel was at a coffee shop. Romy went to his table, still talking on the phone, and ordered him to get her a cup of coffee. When he brought it to her, she hung up and asked him how he calmed the dog down. He said he used a cookie. Romy, surprised, asked if he carried cookies every day. He playfully responded by asking if she needed one. Samuel then advised Romy it wasn't healthy to drink coffee after lunch and asked how many cups she had per day. Romy gave him a strange look and told him it wasn't his business, but then admitted she drank 7 cups a day while picking up her ringing phone. That night, Romy and Jacob lay in bed. Romy was watching a video when Jacob kissed her from behind, asking her to look at him. She told him she wanted to sleep while watching videos. As she covered her body with a sheet, he continued kissing her. Romy turned away and covered her eyes with a pillow. Jacob touched and kissed her, then admitted that he didn't want things to be like this because he felt like a villain. Romy removed the pillow from her eyes. At the office, Romy was filming a segment about being a CEO and how she saw herself as a human expert. She talked about the pressure CEO's face and said, "Look up, smile, and never show weakness." The director advised her not to use the word weakness because it had a negative connotation and that vulnerability shouldn't be seen as negative. At the holiday party, people danced, talked, and drank. Romy and Esme sat together, and Esme mentioned how much she loved Romy's name. Romy, surprised, told her she had grown up in communes and cults and was named by a guru. Esme laughed and said she had assumed Romy was raised by soldiers or robots. Just then, Romy noticed Samuel at the party. Outside, Romy stood alone. Samuel approached and asked for a lighter, lighting his cigarette. While smoking, he asked Romy if she liked Christmas, mentioning that he hated it. They were interrupted, and Romy gave him a chance to speak. Samuel told her he had chosen her as his mentor. Romy was confused and told him she wasn't part of the program. He explained that he had seen her name on the list and had submitted a request for her as his mentor. Thanking her for the lighter, he went back inside. Inside, Romy and Nora joined the dance floor. Jacob joined them, took Romy's hand, and they started dancing. They chatted, reminiscing about how long it had been since they last danced together. Romy, looking uncomfortable, pulled away, saying she didn't want to dance with him. Even though Jacob insisted that it was okay since they were married, she refused. Romy stood aside and saw Samuel dancing with another woman. His tie slipped from his neck onto the floor. At home, Romy and Jacob sat at the table. Romy was on her phone while Jacob talked about Hadis's suicide. Romy mumbled a response, distracted by her phone. Jacob told her that her mumbling didn't make sense and playfully asked who she was texting. She claimed she was emailing. Romy put her phone down, got up, and walked over to Jacob. He hugged her and asked if he was still relevant in her life. Romy kissed his forehead and replied, "None of them are relevant. They need to pay attention to the avalanche that's coming for them." At the office, people cleaned up the party room. Romy found the Samuel's tie from the party and took it to her office. She listened to a radio broadcast about finance and capital markets. Holding the tie, she swallowed hard, emotionally touched, while sitting on her office couch. Romy lying in bed, a therapist injected her near her eyes, placing her under a machine without any numbing cream. As she tried to see, images of children, sounds, and a dog appeared in her mind. A voice outside asked her what she was noticing, seeing, and sensing. At home, they were taking Christmas pictures. Jacob and Romy asked their younger daughter, Isabel, to change her clothes for the photo shoot. She refused. Nora was open to changing clothes. At the office, Romy stood in an elevator, trying to see her reflection. Samuel joined her. He mentioned looking forward to Tuesday. Romy, surprised, asked why. He explained that their mentorship introduction meeting was scheduled for Tuesday. She was confused and said she hadn't seen any emails about it. Samuel commented on something near her eyes, saying it looked good on her. Back in the office, Esme did Romy's makeup. Romy asked who had signed her up for the mentorship program. Esme told her that Hazel thought it would be great for her to participate in internal activities. Esme then asked if they could discuss her promotion soon, and Romy agreed. In the meeting room, Samuel sat waiting for his first mentorship session. Romy walked in and told him he had 7 minutes. When he extended his hand for a handshake, she ignored it. Samuel corrected her, saying it was a 10-minute session, and thanked her for making time. Romy muttered that she had been forced into the meeting, though he didn't hear her. He asked why she had chosen that room for their meeting. She asked if he didn't like it, and he assured her he did, mentioning its nice vibe and soundproof walls. Romy sarcastically told him to hurry since time was running out. Samuel asked how warehouse automation started. Romy, surprised, told him he could find that online. He playfully said the internet wasn't reliable. She recounted her journey. After graduating from Yale, she was recruited by an investment firm that put her through a series of tests, including estimating how many ping-pong balls could fit in a room. Samuel asked how many, but she ignored him and continued. Eventually, she was asked to solve a case study about a struggling company. Even after a week, she couldn't do it and admitted as much. Samuel asked what happened next. She said they hired her because they were looking for a personality like hers. She then started her own company, aiming to automate repetitive tasks to give people their time back. Samuel interrupted, saying she was actually limiting power-hungry personalities. She got upset, and although he apologized, Samuel followed her before she left the room and got closer to her, even though she kept saying she had to go. They started kissing. Suddenly, Romy apologized and said it shouldn't have happened. He assured her that it was okay, and she left. Later, Romy and her family went hiking. Romy and Jacob were sleeping when Romy's phone started ringing. She silenced it, got out of bed, and stood by the window. Looking outside, she saw Isabel in the swimming pool with Ophelia, the girl next door, and they kissed. In the morning, Romy took the dead dog out of the swimming pool and asked Isabel whether she loved the girl next door, mentioning that she thought she was in love with Mary. Isabel replied that she was in love with Mary but was just having fun with Ophelia. At the office, Samuel and the interns were watching a TV program discussing how their work environment was respectful and advising employees to report any experiences of harassment immediately. At that moment, Romy left the office, and Samuel saw her and followed her. Samuel asked Romy why she hadn't replied to the email about their next meeting, which was supposed to be held weekly. Romy told him she was busy. Samuel responded that it was a simple task and said that if she didn't want to do it, he would find another mentor. Romy told him his behavior was out of line and that she would think it over and let them know. Feeling confused, Romy ran to the theater where Jacob worked. Jacob was overseeing Steven's rehearsal. When he saw Romy, he was surprised and asked why she had come. She told him she wanted to see him in his natural habitat. He reminded her that it had been a long time since she had done that, back when she thought he was having an affair with the lighting technician. At a party, Romy joined Hazel and Esme. They sat together, discussing hiring more female employees to help young women rise to leadership positions. After Esme left, they noticed a glass of milk on their table, but no one knew who had ordered it. From a distance, Romy saw Samuel and realized he had ordered it for her. She drank it all while he watched. As Romy stood talking to someone, Samuel passed behind her and whispered, "Good girl." That night, Romy got dressed and went to the theater, where Jacob's film was being screened. She greeted everyone and told them she loved the movie. Jacob seemed happy to have her by his side. Romy then saw a text from Samuel and told others she had a work emergency, leaving abruptly. Jacob was disappointed and told her he wished she would stay, as it was a special day for him. Romy went to the office, hoping to see someone, but no one was there. On her desk, she found a message with the location of a hotel. Outside, Samuel smoked a cigarette while looking at a brightly lit building. Romy went to Samuel's place wearing a new dress. When she arrived at the room, no one was there. She turned on the light, took off her jacket, and sat on the bed. Samuel soon entered. Romy told him to sit down and said they needed to talk about his behavior, leaving her notes, calling, and texting her. Samuel, confused, told her that she had followed his lead, dressed beautifully for a stranger like him, and that it confused him. Samuel ordered her to kneel. Romy told him she didn't want to hurt him because he was young. Samuel replied that he had power over her, that he could make one call and take everything away from her. He again told her to kneel on the floor. Romy said his behavior was unacceptable, grabbed her jacket, and started to leave the room. But suddenly, she turned back and kissed him. Samuel stopped her, made her kneel, and gave her chocolate. She started acting like a dog, and he hugged her. Samuel and Romy began an affair. One night at their home, Mary came over to spend time with Romy, Jacob, Nora, and Isabel. Romy and Jacob both liked her. Romy told Jacob that Isabel had become more supportive lately. The next day, when Romy arrived home, she found Samuel talking with her family. Romy, confused, joined them and asked Samuel what he was doing there. Samuel explained that she had forgotten her laptop at the office and that Esme had told him to bring it to her. Romy said it would have been better to send a messenger instead. Nora asked Samuel if he also worked with robots, and he replied that he was only a paid intern. He also mentioned that he worked at a bar. When Nora told him she was a dancer, they invited him to join them for a hiking trip. At first, he refused, and Romy seemed uninterested, but they insisted, so he joined them. After the hike, while in the car, Samuel told Romy that he loved her family. Romy told him never to show up to her family again and told him her families are her priorities. Samuel tried to get out, but Romy locked the door, repeating over and over that they should not see each other outside the office. Samuel told her that, given the age difference, she was like a mother to him and that she didn't need to worry because he wasn't looking for a girlfriend. Romy insisted that they should keep things professional and that she didn't want to fire him. Samuel aggressively got out of the car and walked away. At a warehouse, an automated voice welcomed visitors to the Robotics Development Center. Reports announced that Tensile Automation had received overwhelmingly positive responses to their newest product, Harvest. At the office, Romy joined Sebastian and Samuel. Samuel was leaving. Romy started discussing the tapes Hazel had sent them and Sebastian advised to relax and prepare for their questions. Then, Romy received a text, excused herself, and left. Outside the building, Samuel smoked a cigarette. Romy approached him and asked if he was okay. Samuel told her he didn't feel comfortable working for her anymore and that he planned to request a transfer to another department. Romy, frightened, told him he couldn't do that because it would raise questions, lead to an investigation, and potentially get her fired. Samuel told her it was for the best for both of them and walked away. At night, Romy and Jacob lay in bed. Romy was on her phone while Jacob asked her to be with him. She tried but couldn't focus and admitted she never felt chemistry with him. She told him not to touch her and left him confused. Romy went to the bar where Samuel worked. Samuel saw her but continued his job. She waited, but Samuel sent his coworker, Josh, to tell her to leave. When she asked why, Josh said Samuel had instructed him. Romy left, confused. In the morning, Romy and Jacob were in the living room. Jacob asked about the cake for Isabel's birthday, and Romy assured him she had ordered it. He then brought up her words and actions from the night before. Romy moved closer, told him she didn't mean it, and blamed stress. Later, in a room, Romy waited for Samuel. When he arrived, he said he had only 7 minutes. She asked if he had spoken about the transfer, but he commented on her nervousness. She admitted she didn't want to hurt him. Samuel told her she was the one who was hurting, not him, and suggested they continue what they had been doing consensually, setting rules. When she hesitated, he threatened to tell someone, forcing her to agree. At night in a room, Romy dressed up while Samuel arrived, also dressed. He made her undress by reminding her of his threat, then told her she was beautiful. She didn't believe him, but he hugged her, and she hugged back emotionally. He called her baby girl, drank, danced for her, and they enjoyed the moment. They agreed that Jacob would be their safe word. On the bed, Romy told Samuel she thought he was a lovely person. He admitted he scared himself. She hugged him. At Isabel's birthday party, Romy stood alone, watching Nora dance. A flashback of children's voices and images appeared in her mind. She then cut the birthday cake. There was a knock at the door. Romy opened it to find Esme and Samuel bringing a cake for Isabel. Seeing them together made Romy jealous. She pulled Samuel into the kitchen and demanded to know what he was doing with Esme. He said they were just seeing each other. Romy shouted that he was only hers. Esme entered, offering help, and Romy accidentally broke a glass. Esme asked if everything was okay, and Romy dismissed her concerns. Esme and Samuel left. At the office, Romy called Esme in and asked how she was, then brought up Samuel. She warned that Esme was about to get a promotion while Samuel was just an intern, implying it wouldn't be good for her. Esme admitted she hadn't thought of it that way. Romy claimed she was trying to protect her. Romy's phone rang. Samuel asked to see her that night. On her way to the bar, she called Jacob, saying she'd be late for work and asking him to tell Isabel about soccer practice. At the bar, she struggled to find Samuel in the dim light and crowded space. When he finally appeared, they danced for a long time. After leaving the bar, Samuel smoked and told her about cuckoo birds, which lay eggs in other birds' nests. Romy lay on his chest, unable to understand his meaning. She asked if he was doing with Esme what he did with her. Samuel said he liked Esme differently and that she made him love himself in a different way. When Romy returned home, she tried to enter quietly, but Isabel was waiting in the living room. Romy was surprised and asked why she hadn't slept. Isabel said she was waiting for her and asked how she was. Romy said she was just busy with work. They checked on each other's well-being before going to bed. In the morning, while having breakfast, the door knocked. It was Esme. Jacob, Isabel, and Nora left. She brought up her raise, saying they hadn't discussed it. Romy apologized. Esme then revealed she knew about Romy and Samuel but didn't want Romy to make decisions out of fear. Hearing this, Romy became stressed. Esme assured her she wanted to see her succeed and help her community, adding that she would never meet Samuel again. Then, Romy thanked her. At home, Romy sat, Feeling stressed, Jacob approached her and asked what was wrong. Romy told him that ever since she was little, she had dark, disgusting thoughts in her mind, and she would do anything to get rid of them. She wanted to be a smart woman, but no matter how much she worked on herself, she couldn't escape these thoughts. Even therapy couldn't help, and she believed they were connected to her childhood. As she spoke, her voice trembled. Romy told Jacob, this is who she is. She said she could never be the normal person he wanted her to be. Jacob asked her to be more specific, and she admitted that she had never experienced her fantasies in real life until she met someone. Jacob, feeling sad, asked about the person, whether he knew him or not. Romy assured him that he didn't know him, he was just a stranger. Jacob, now scared, asked if she was in love with him. She told him she wasn't, it wasn't about love. Jacob, growing aggressive, asked how she could do this to their children. He told her to leave the house and left her. In her room, Romy lay on her bed. Suddenly, she heard something. Looking out the window, she saw Samuel in the swimming pool. She ran to him and told him to leave. Instead, he reached out his hand, pulled her in, and drowned her in a kiss. At home, Romy and Samuel talked about how both of their minds were messed up. Samuel told her they were even now. As they spoke, Jacob returned home and, seeing them together, became furious. A fight broke out between Jacob and Samuel. Eventually, they sat in silence, the tension filling the house. Jacob, humiliated, asked Samuel what Romy had done to him, how she had used him. Samuel corrected him, saying his view was outdated. Jacob, overwhelmed, struggled to breathe. When Romy tried to help, he refused. Samuel stepped in, guiding Jacob to breathe deeply and giving him water. Once Jacob had calmed down, Samuel apologized and, making sure Jacob was okay, left them alone. On TV, Esme spoke about the honor of working under Romy Mathis. She described Romy as vulnerable yet strong, someone who taught them how to uplift and support each other. Romy spent time alone. Then Isabel visited her, asking her to come back home. She told Romy that Jacob was stuck at the theater, hadn't eaten, and was sitting there reading the Bible. She reassured Romy that he would forgive her, reminding her that even Mary has forgiven her. Feeling empowered, Romy got up, and together, they left the place. At the theater, Romy found Jacob. They both cried as she asked for his forgiveness. At the office, Sebastian visited Romy and asked about Samuel, informing her that he had taken a job in Kawasaki, Tokyo. Romy said that was good for him. Sebastian added that it was good for her too. Sensing his intent, Romy realized he was trying to manipulate her by implying she had something to do with Samuel's transfer. He invited her for a drink, but she shut him down. Sebastian warned her to be careful. Romy, unfazed, told him she wasn't afraid of him. If she wanted to be humiliated, she would pay someone to do it, not him. She then ordered him to leave her office. At the end, Jacob finally accepted Romy for who she was and helped her overcome the humiliation Samuel had caused her.